Some mornings drift in quietly with soft edges and gentle intentions. But that Tuesday didn't arrive like dawn. It arrived like a detonation, like a split straight down the center of the sky, where chaos came pouring through in raw, screeching metal and snapping bolts, and the unmistakable sound of something precious being destroyed in real time. I had no warning, no chance to gather myself. Only that scream, metal grinding against metal, tearing me out of sleep so violently it felt like being shoved out of a helicopter without a parachute. I ran to the window first, heart punching its way into my throat. But the sight outside was so surreal my brain refused to connect the pieces. So I crashed through the front door, barefoot, half awake, stepping onto gravel sharp enough to slice my skin open as I stared upward in disbelief. 3 men in orange vests were perched across my roof like vultures, crowbars in hand, prying up the solar panels I had dreamt about, saved for, fought for 2 long years. They swung with mechanical brutality, metal shrieking as screws ripped free, tempered glass exploding across the driveway in a rain of glittering destruction. One of them barked, "Sir, step back," like I was the intruder. And then I saw her, at the edge of my lawn, standing with the unearned poise of someone who believed she was ordained to rule, wearing fitted yoga pants and an expression that mixed smugness with manufactured concern, was Brenda Kessler, the iron-fisted president of Silverwood Meadows Residential Association, the kind of woman who moved through the world as if it belonged to her, even though she hadn't built a single brick of it. She held a clipboard like it was a sword. "Mr. Pierce," she said, flashing a realtor smile so polished it reflected the morning sun, "you're in violation of architectural standards. Solar installations require approval." "I have approval," I said, voice raw. "County permits. Inspections passed. Everything filed." She tilted her head, lips pursing, as if she was pretending to feel bad. "This is Silverwood Meadows," she replied. "Our standards override the county." It was the confidence that got me. The casual dismissal. The way she acted as if she was doing me a favor while ripping the future out of my hands. "My name is Logan Pierce, 12 years Navy electrical engineer, 5 of those spent rebuilding power grids in Iraq, where getting a wire wrong meant entire bases went dark or people died. I've had sandstorms stronger than some hurricanes, mortars landing close enough to feel the shock wave in my ribs, and bureaucrats so incompetent it should have been criminal. But not one of them had ever smiled at me while tearing apart the very thing I was working to protect. But nothing hit harder than what happened at 3:30 p.m. That's when my daughter Ellie, 17, brilliant, the person whose future I was building solar panels for, walked up the driveway after school, dropped her backpack, and stood frozen before the mangled wreckage. She looked like someone had unplugged the sun itself. She pressed a hand to her mouth, trembling, then sank to her knees on the concrete. "Dad, why would someone do this?" Her voice cracked in half. She had written her entire college essay about our solar project. About fatherhood. About resilience after divorce. About choosing clean energy because she wanted a better world. And now? Nothing but ruins. I knelt beside her, pulled her into my arms, smelled the burnt electrical components mixing with the trace of jasmine perfume Brenda left drifting behind her like a toxic fog, and I made a silent promise. Brenda wouldn't just answer for what she'd done. She'd pay for all of it. And then the messages started pouring in. Greta Shaw, fined $800 because she painted her little free library unauthorized teal. Harlan Ortiz, threatened with a $1,200 fine for installing an EV charger, protected by state law. Felix, Ring camera footage of Brenda personally directing workers onto my roof. It was a pattern, a reign of terror disguised as community standards. People had been living under her thumb for years, but she picked the wrong man to try to break. Most homeowners never read their HOA bylaws, but engineers? We read every line. So I sat at my dining table that night with a mug of cold coffee and a flashlight because the kitchen light was flickering again, flipping through 47 pages of tiny legal print until my eyes burned. On page 33, I found it. Section 14.3c. Energy efficiency improvements are exempt from prior approval if compliant with county standards. My installation was compliant. Brenda was lying. The next morning, I walked into the office of Marion Keene, a paralegal who carried herself like she'd taken down entire political machines before breakfast. Her office smelled like burnt coffee, paper dust, and determination. She read through everything. Permits, photos, timestamps. Then said in a tone so calm it felt like thunder rolling across the desert. She's in violation. Not you. Within 48 hours, Marion uncovered what could only be described as organized theft. $18,000 to her fake management company, Kessler and Partners. $3,200 to her brother-in-law's landscaping business. $1,800 in Zillow upgrades she used for her real estate listings. Reserve funds illegally drained below state minimums. This wasn't enforcement. This was embezzlement wearing a tennis skirt smile. Then Brenda escalated. Fines piled in, mailbox rust, grass height, unauthorized holiday lights, trash bins visible for 7 minutes past pickup time. My truck was vandalized. Leach, written in red, dripping like blood. And then her husband, Councilman Trent Kessler, cornered me with thinly veiled threats about permitting delays and intense inspections. What he didn't know, Colorado is a one-party consent state. I recorded every word. But the real turning point came from somewhere deeper, my training, my instincts, my understanding of infrastructure. Because while digging through public records for the neighborhood's original development plans, I found the detail that changed everything. Silverwood Meadows ran on one transformer, installed in 1997, partially hidden by shrubs Brenda planted, shrubs that violated required safety clearance. It was old, it was overloaded, and it was a ticking bomb. A single formal complaint would force a utility inspection. A single inspection would reveal its age. A single discovery would trigger a shutdown. And I had something no one else did. A solar array with battery backup capable of running independently for 72 hours. I didn't sabotage anything. I didn't touch a wire. I simply submitted the documentation. 3 days later, utility trucks rolled in. 2 engineers frowned at the transformer like it insulted their ancestors. After 40 minutes, they zip-tied a bright red condemnation tag to the fence. Equipment unsafe. Immediate shutdown required. Shutdown scheduled for Saturday at 2 p.m. The exact time our community town hall was scheduled. We went door to door. We distributed flyers. We gathered signatures. People who had been afraid for so long suddenly had hope. Brenda tried everything. Emailed the neighborhood claiming the meeting was canceled due to threats. Sent 3 women in matching Lululemon to bribe me with a $15,000 NDA. Claimed security concerns prohibited gatherings. We ignored her. Saturday came. The pavilion filled. Retirees, parents with strollers, teenagers, engineers, nurses, IT workers, people who had swallowed fear for years. At 1:59 p.m., a distant hum stuttered. At 2 p.m., the neighborhood went dark. Every house but one, 3 blocks away, glowing like a single flame in a sea of extinguished candles, was my house, powered entirely by the solar system Brenda tried to destroy. She arrived 30 seconds later, jaw clenched, her expensive new lawyer in tow. The projector flickered to life, powered by Harlan's generator, and Marion began the presentation. Every slide exposed another piece of corruption. $18,000, $3, $200, $1, $800, $900 fines to single mothers. Selective enforcement targeting newcomers. Intimidation. Threats. Fabricated violations. Finally, we displayed the grand total. $28,000 misappropriated from homeowners. Gasps rippled. Murmurs rose. A spark became a fire. And then, the coup de grace. A video of Luther Mindell, board member, weeping during deposition, admitting he signed whatever Brenda put in front of him, that he never saw the financial reports, that she controlled everything. The crowd erupted. Brenda snapped. She jumped up, finger stabbing the air at me, yelling insults that spiraled from petty to personal to pathetic, mocking my old truck, my income, my divorce, my parenting, Ellie's future. Every word caught on camera. Every insult a self-inflicted wound. Every breath she took tightened the noose around her crown. When she finally stopped, red-faced and shaking, I walked to the mic. "So your argument," I said quietly, "is that I don't belong because I'm not wealthy enough to bow to you?" Silence. Then noise. A tidal wave of anger. Greta stood. I moved to recall the president. Hands shot up. 40, 50, 57. Enough to remove her immediately. Brenda's face cracked. Her lawyer whispered, She resisted, then broke. "I resign," she whispered. "Louder," someone shouted. She swallowed. "I resign as president of Silverwood Meadows." She walked out trembling, her lawyer following like a man trying to escape an explosion. Her empire collapsed behind her. The power returned after 48 hours. But the damage to Brenda's world was irreversible. The fallout was swift and merciless. Brenda's accounts were frozen. The state attorney general opened a criminal investigation. Her husband Trent resigned from city council. Their house was foreclosed. Their marriage imploded. She moved to Nevada under a cloud of scandal. Meanwhile, 41 homeowners joined our lawsuit. The HOA's insurance, terrified of trial, settled. I received $47,000. I restored Ellie's college fund. Then I started something bigger. The Silverwood Solar Cooperative. Group solar discounts. Low-interest energy loans. Community workshops. Environmental internships for local teens. Within 6 months, rooftops across Silverwood glittered with panels. Utility bills dropped. The HOA reformed. People took back their neighborhood. We held barbecues again. Kids played basketball without fear of noise violations. Neighbors talked, really talked, for the first time in years. And one golden evening, with Ellie home from her first semester at college, the two of us climbed onto the roof to clean the panels. The sunset laid warm streaks across the sky. The neighborhood glowed in the soft hum of summer, and she looked at me and said, "Dad, you didn't just fight her. You fixed this place." Maybe I did. Maybe all of us did. Because since that day, when the lights went out everywhere except our home, a symbol, a beacon, a declaration, I realized something important. Power doesn't come from wires or transformers or panels. It comes from people refusing to be stepped on. And now I'll leave you with this. The same question I asked the world the night everything changed. If someone tried to take your future, your home, your dignity, would you stay quiet in the dark? Or would you flip the switch and make the whole world watch the truth burn bright?